What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I am Spread Astaire. I will be by myself today running you guys through the NBA playoffs. So, the good thing about that, though, is I will be a little more cognizant of the chat box. So, go ahead, drop some questions in there. Once again, remember, I'm trying to bring you actual gambling content every single day. So please give me a like and subscribe to the video, and away we go. The opening game, 11 a.m. for us on the West Coast, 2 a.m. for you guys on the East Coast. The Miami Heat, 40-32, head to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks, 46-26. Of course, this is the rematch of last year's series in which the Bucks were trounced. Not only were they eliminated, they were embarrassed. They were trounced. Miami rolled them en route to the Eastern Conference Finals. So while they could have tanked to avoid this matchup, they went full bore. They went ahead. They grabbed the 3 seed. Now they have a very tough path. But hey, if they get it, more credit to them. Could this be Giannis's Pistons, right? What did we all do at the beginning of the pandemic, right? We sat around, we watched The Last Dance, right? And what were we so impressed with? And I remember growing up and living through that. The most impressive part of Jordan's career was getting through those Pistons. I mean, when he finally broke through, it was a true victory and like a culmination of the human spirit and a true story, right? I think that's what Milwaukee's going for here, and I would not be surprised to see it. Now, you can make great arguments on both sides, right? And if you want, go ahead. We did a full long show. I'm going to be quick today, but we did a long show yesterday, close to an hour and a half, where we broke down each one of these series. You got thoughts from Tyler, Travis, and JSU, and I'll be using some of those points tonight to go ahead and highlight some of the opposite sides, just so I'm not just going like full tout and telling you my sides here. So let's talk about Milwaukee Bucks and the differences between last year. Two differences: the addition of PJ Tucker and Jrue Holiday. I don't think the Jrue Holiday acquisition can be understated. Eric Bledsoe, while he's a wildly talented player, has not been able to contribute to winning, and his inability to score at the end of the games was really tough on Milwaukee last year, and he was definitely a piece that was exploited. Another addition is the playoff toughness, the playoff durability, the playoff experience of PJ Tucker. What does he do? Lockdown defense, stand in the corner and shoot threes. On a team like this, that's exactly what you need. I feel that Milwaukee has upgraded their squad, specifically their starting 5, since the loss last year. Now let's look at Miami. Miami, to me, has downgraded since last year. The loss of Jay Crowder, I mentioned it on the show yesterday, right? He was shooting 44% from 3 last year. Replaced by Trevor Ariza, who's at 35%. Now, can these players catch fire? Of course they can, right? Tyler Hero, down from 39% to 36%. Would it be that crazy if he went above 40% for the series? No, but that's exactly what Miami's going to need. So for Miami to win this series, turn it around, they're going to need 2 to 3 players to increase dramatically. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Trevor Ariza. They all need to get above 38, 39% from three-point range in order to make this work. Now, this is where Mike Budenholzer is really going to be on the line here. He needs to make adjustments. He needs to get open shots for his guys. He can't have Giannis driving into the wall, and he can't have Giannis settling for jump shots outside of the paint. They need to get in. They need to be effective. He needs to draw the defense. And an issue that Milwaukee is going to have is if you were to drop a defender for Giannis, you drop a guy like Bam Adebayo. So that is going to be tough. But at the same time, I really like the ability of Jrue Holiday to slow down Jimmy Butler there. I think he's going to be such a much tougher matchup than Eric Bledsoe and the resistance he was able to provide last year. Let's slow Butler down. Let's see how this team really looks when the three-point shots aren't going in. So I like Milwaukee in this series. I like Milwaukee today. I like them laying the points. And here's why I'm laying the points. And I'm going to tell you tilt ways. I mean, you just don't just have to blindly tail. But I would say, let's say you disagree with everything I say. You say spread, you're crazy. Miami gets it done. Miami's a better team. Take Miami money line. I don't see a lot of scenarios where this game falls in between the number. If Milwaukee wins, they're going to need to get out in transition. They're needing to build a lead, apply some scoreboard pressure to Miami, right? And I do not like this bet, or even Milwaukee to win the game straight up if it is very close going into the last 3 minutes. So my idea there is, if you do like Miami, you're on the opposite side of me. You think they get it done. You like Butler 10 times more than Giannis. Hey, I can't, I can't disrespect that idea. I mean, it could be quite possible that we're jumping on tomorrow and Monday, and we're talking about Miami being ahead 1-0. If that's the case, I'm really worried as a Milwaukee Bucks backer and as someone who took their ticket to win the whole title here. They need to win this game one. This game one is is the most must-win game one I've seen in years for the mental attitude of the Milwaukee Bucks here. So I think if the Bucks win, they do win in a blowout. That's why I'm comfortable laying it. And I think that if it's close, take the Miami money line, and that is where all the value is. What's up to the guys in the chat? I see Gregory Russo. He says Milwaukee is going to exact revenge. I completely agree. Walla Walla, what's up? Let's go. I'm so excited for today. Two guys, one gun. Did a $1,000 parlay on the Nets and Lakers. All right, not bad, not bad. We got our guy DB Gnarly in there from Houston. The Rockets missed the playoffs this year, but they will be rebuilding really quickly, and they have a lot. Gregory Russo believes that Milwaukee will beat them. And what's up, John Nelson, who took the Bucks first half -2.5. I like that as well. I like Milwaukee every which way in this game. I really think this is a statement game for them. And if I'm wrong, and if it's not, it could be a quick offseason. And I don't even know what that team does. If they take the L here, they don't really have a lot of ways to maneuver here. So this game is the most important game in the Milwaukee franchise since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played. Let's move on to the next game that we have. The Dallas Mavericks, another rematch. Isn't this fantastic? Another rematch from last year. Dallas Mavericks, 42-30, head to Los Angeles to take on the Clippers in a rematch of last year. Luka was able to work some magic. He had a couple of great games that was able to squeeze some wins out. But come on, guys, this is Luka and a bunch of role players. They did not do a good job of surrounding Luka with talent. They went all in on the KP deal. They lost. They didn't hit their flush. The full house didn't pair. Whatever analogy you want to use, that trade did not work. Porzingis has been an average player at best, and the other loss that they had was the loss of Seth Curry. Without the extra space on the floor, Dallas's offense is struggling that much more. Josh Richardson's been a disappointment. The bright spot for this Dallas Mavericks team has been the play of Jalen Brunson, so look for big contributions for him. But once again, we have a situation just like last year where this Clippers team is the absolutely worst matchup for Dallas, I would say, in the first round, with the multiple wing defenders they can use to slow down Luka. And guess what, guys? If you slow down Luka, this offense is done. You tell me that Luka shoots like less than 40%. I mean, there's absolutely no way in my mind the Mavericks don't cover. I don't see who else is stepping up and carrying this team. Maybe a Tim Hardaway breakout game, right? I mean, I guess I could see him going for 30. He does have the skills. But other than that, man, this Mavericks team is really going to be hard-pressed to keep up. And the ability to throw Leonard, George, even a little Ibaka, even a little Beverly, you can switch the looks up here on the Dallas Mavericks so much on Luka. And like I said, Luka is everything to this offense. If he doesn't score, they don't have a chance. I like the Clippers' ability to shut them down. One other thing we need to talk about on the Clippers, the addition of playoff Rondo. We saw how important he was in the Lakers championship run this year. Now he's, across the street, across the hallway. I don't know what the term is for the Staples Center, right? But he's on the opposite Los Angeles team here. And I love this move. I think it addresses the biggest deficiency that the Clippers have. The biggest deficiency the Clippers have is their lack of playmaking in the half court with 5 minutes to go. We saw it when the Clippers went up to Milwaukee this year, right? Paul George is going ISO, hero ball, right? Throwing up wild shots. We saw it in the bubble last year when they were eliminated by the Denver Nuggets, these wild hero ball shots. I trust Rondo to get them into their sets and get them running that same offense that they run the first 43 minutes of the game. And then you switch to this weird hero ball the last 5 minutes? No. Keep the same offense. Keep the good shots within the system. That's where Rondo's leadership comes in. And he has the equity and the acumen and the respect of his fellow players to go ahead and tell a Paul George or tell a Kawhi Leonard, that's not the shot we wanted there. That's not the shot we wanted. Keep working it around. I love the addition of Rondo. I think it might come to play today. I lean towards taking the Clippers here. I didn't love it though. I think the 5.5, 6 number is just about right. The better number is probably the under. Value's gone on that. You know what? We're gonna might have to start betting overnights again, right? These totals are getting hammered, and they're getting hammered in the right direction. The line movement has been correct so far, and I expect that to continue today. Too bad you got the worst of the number here. I can't, in good conscience, give it out at 217. But if you got in early, congratulations to you because I do like this game going under, especially with the Clippers' ability to trouble. And you're not going to shut down Luka Doncic, but if you can even annoy him and make him work, that will lead to less efficiency towards the end of the game. Lean the Clippers here, but no play. The next game that we've got, this is another game that I think that they did a great job with the line. I see a Boston +8 now with a total of 232 going against the Brooklyn Nets. Not the first time, but a funny quote from Steve Nash, right? The amount of minutes that Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, and James Harden have played together, it's shorter than The Irishman. That movie, The Irishman, that we had so much fun watching, right? Less time on the court than that movie. So we will see how these players come together. But we know, a guy I follow on Twitter, J.R. Richmond, says that these guys are dudes. Dudes get it done, right? Dudes get it done in the NBA. And I think that they're not going to have any problem getting it together. But the issue is, I think this 8, it's a little long for Boston here. I can see why people don't want to bet Boston, right? I mean, they finished the season terribly. Kevin Durant is the perfect foil defensively for Jason Tatum. And like I mentioned with the Dallas Mavericks earlier, due to injuries, I feel that Jason Tatum is similar. Maybe not as much gravity as Luka has on that terrible Mavericks roster, but Tatum's worth a lot. And if they shut him down, Boston really has no chance. But if Tatum does keep it going, they'll obviously keep it within the number here. We'll need a big game from Fournier because he's going to get toasted on the other end. So he has to score for it to be important. Kemba Walker, I'm hoping we get maybe a resurgence of some Charlotte Kemba Walker here. Don't know which game we're going to get it, though. He'll probably be good for 1 or 2 good games this series, and the rest of the time he will be average. A lot for Jason Tatum to overcome. Of course, I love the defense of Marcus Smart, but he can only guard one guy, right? So they're obviously just going to go away from him. I highly doubt that whoever has Marcus Smart is going to be working one-on-one. I think they'll find a different player to run the offense through. So that kind of takes away that disadvantage because they're just going to ignore him, right? It's almost like a shutdown receiver taking down one wide receiver. When you have a big, talented offense with a ton of playmakers, fine, take them out. We'll just leave them one-on-one there. We'll go to our other guys. We're not worried about the stats. We're worried about the wins. That being said, I like the Boston Celtics +8 here to keep it close. I think this line is just a little bit too high, and I think that the fact that nobody wants to bet Boston, and hey, how could you not want to bet Brooklyn, especially if you're a casual better, right? A lot of you guys in the chat here, right? You have been with us all year, right? You've been grinding the ups and downs of the NBA with me, right? Let's say you just jump in, right? You've just been watching college basketball, betting some baseball, betting on the Dodgers. Now you jump into the NBA, you see Brooklyn, you see the big three, you're going to lay any number that the books put out, right? So I think that has another thing to do with why Brooklyn is taking money. We will see if it's sharp or not. I lean towards the Celtics +8. I also like the over. I think it's a high-scoring game. Definitely think the Celtics will struggle to get stops because how talented that Brooklyn's offense is. But I think Celtics will be able to score as well. It should be a high-paced game. I like Boston +8 and the over. Let's go to the next game. Oh, the last game of the night. How much fun is this going to be? I mean, this is going to be a great series. Well, it sucks because everybody doing a bracket has already penciled the winner of this series to go out next round to the winner of Phoenix, LA. They're still going to play it anyways, thank God. And we are going to see some exciting basketball. I've mentioned it a million times because it was a tough beat for me. But it's a rematch of the 2018 playoffs in which the Portland Trailblazers won in 7 in Denver, where Denver had a 15-point lead in the third quarter. They blew it. It was Dame time, and will it be Dame time again tonight? We will find out. So this has been a tough game to call. I have seen awesome arguments on both sides. I mentioned it before. I will mention it again. The closing lineup for the Blazers: Dame, CJ, Powell, Rocco, Nurkic. +14 net rating, one of the best net ratings of any closing fives in the league. That cannot be diminished or denied. But let's go ahead and talk about the Denver side. Everyone threw dirt on them when they lost Jamal Murray. The idea they can't score, they can't get it done. I'll tell you what, if there's anyone to absorb offensive usage, it's Jokic. funnel all the usage to him. It doesn't get any less efficient, doesn't get any less better, right? The other guys can still hit the threes. I trust Denver on the offensive end to get it done without Jamal Murray. Where I'm worried, of course, is the defense. But I love the addition of Aaron Gordon. He's a very versatile defender, 2 through 4. Will we see Gordon on some Dame? I mentioned that talking to JSU and Travis yesterday. And, they both agreed that could be a very interesting wrinkle that Mike Malone can throw in here. As much as Michael Porter Jr. is going to struggle to defend, who's going to stop him? Who's going to stop him? Covington? He's not a good on-ball defender anymore. He's a help defender now. And this isn't 2018. This isn't 2017. Rocco's not a shutdown defender anymore. He's an average on-ball defender who is one of the best help defenders in the league at this point of his career. I still trust Porter Jr. to get it done. Not to mention Jokic is going to give him great looks here. You got Gordon at 3. I don't think that Austin Rivers is really that bad to just be a defense and run your he's just going to take the open shots when they leave him wide open. Campazzo is the X factor. If Campazzo can step up, right, and actually be a net positive contributor, I love Denver's chances here. If Campazzo gets ran off the floor, which is a possibility, man, you're going against Dame, you're going against CJ. I doubt he'll get Powell minutes because he'll get cooked there. But even so, he's getting cooked with whoever. His only hope is really to be an irritant and just tire Dame out and everything. Anyways, it's a really rough matchup. Regardless, it is really hard to see how these teams stop each other. Over of 227. I don't like playoff overs, and we are going. It's tough to take it over with a low pace team such as Denver. But I like the over here. I don't see how they're stopping each other. If this game goes under, it's going under because of pace. It's not going under because of efficiency. These teams are going to be able to get their shots. They're going to be able to get it done. So I like the Nuggets to get it done at home, and I like the over here. Now, let's talk about one other X factor, and I think this is the game that it comes into. These fans are starting to come back, full arenas, fully packed, vaccinated guys cheering, right? Everybody's in there. They're having a great time. The return of home court advantage, we saw it in the play-in, right? I thought the home court really helped the Los Angeles Lakers in that game on Wednesday night here. So I expect to see more of that, especially in Denver, which has historically had one of the best home court advantages in the NBA. The combination of the altitude, the rabid fans, it just works all in their favor. I think that's another thing going in their favor. Greg Russo saying, really, Boston +8? Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and I'll tell you what, Greg, I didn't bet it. That's just the way that I lean. But I do think that's a really solid number. Greg Russo also thinks the Suns are going to shock the world. I'll be rooting for you, but I'll tell you what, analyzing the matchups, that's really tough to see. And then, hey, you know what? Since I'm not going to be here tomorrow, we're going to do tomorrow's games too. Let's knock that out really quick, and then the games will tip off, and we're going to have a great time. The first one is Washington at Philadelphia, -7.5 here for the Philadelphia 76ers. Seems like a pretty good number here. The total is 228.5. I would definitely lean towards the over in Washington Wizards games. And I think I like Philly to cover here. These 7.5 numbers, especially in a playoff game, is right. I think these are really tough numbers to handicap. I think that's where I would have put it, making it myself. I didn't run the model yet this morning because I'll be honest, I don't really trust it that much. I think that it's done pretty close to spitting out the exact same numbers that the books are putting out. So in this game, obviously, what is it going to come down to? Washington's got absolutely no answer for Joel Embiid. He probably goes for 40 and 15. Embiid overs, Embiid props are probably worth a look. I would hit those as soon as they came out because nobody's going to bet under. So if you want the best of the number, hit it the moment they come out. We'll be keeping an eye on that, and maybe Tyler can drop something in the Discord as he finds the best number on the best book, being the prop master that he is. Next game, and this will be the main event, and I see Greg Russo talking about the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix is at -3 right now. I think there's going to be a lot of Lakers money coming in, especially with them catching points, especially on the money line there. So if you like Phoenix, I think that you might wait here. It's a great chance for Phoenix. Great chance for Phoenix. Lakers may be a little tired. Now, remember that game was Wednesday night. That gives them plenty of time to rest Wednesday to Sunday. So I'm not really handicapping fatigue there, but there could be a little bit of emotional let down here and there. At the end of the day, though, I've gone over this game, right? I wanted to pick Phoenix, right? I wanted to take the plus money. I wanted to do all these things. It's really hard to see how they win this game matchup wise because they're going to have no answer for Anthony Davis unless DeAndre Ayton becomes like a plus defender in the past week. Um, I've really struggled to see how they're going to do it. LeBron's a really big player. He's a tough matchup, even not at 100%. And I do think that they have the wing defenders to slow down Paul and Booker. And if they do that, the Suns' offense could get a little stagnant here. I like the Lakers, and even though it's a low total, 213. These are two slow-paced teams, right? The Phoenix plays slow too. Lakers play at absolutely dreadfully slow pace. So give me, I don't really want to take a side, but if you made me, I'll have to take the Lakers, even though I don't want to, but they're the smart play. But give me the under. I think that's the best play of the day there at that 213. That's where I'd be looking to attack this game. Give me under 213. And hey, let's hope Phoenix wins because I think it will be exciting. I would love to see a seventh game in that series. Hey, and my guy, Walla Walla, says the Knicks are the main event. All right, we'll do their game last. And so we're going out of chronological order. Walla Walla Dosk made a good point, though. The Knicks are the main event. So let's talk about. Oh, yeah, this game's definitely not the main event. Let's talk about the stars of last night, the Memphis Grizzlies. Hey, what a win that was. I love to see John Morant and Jaren Jackson getting some of this playoff experience. The Warriors didn't need it. Their roster is so flawed. Let them get to the offseason. Let's quit these illusions that they're light years ahead because, let's be honest, they were Jerry West ahead. Since they've lost Jerry West, this roster has gone absolutely downhill. I'm trying to avoid cussing, even though it doesn't matter. We cuss on the other show all the time, but I'm trying to avoid it. But hey, this roster's gone absolutely downhill. Let's actually look at it honestly, right? Honestly, let's work at it like a relationship is not working, right? Let's look at it honestly, right? They need to move on from a lot of those players. They need to strengthen this core, or they need to do the complete rebuild because what they're doing right now is not working. And since they lost Jerry West, their personal decisions have been absolutely dreadful. And I was wrong at the time. I thought Wiseman over Ball was a good pick. If they had LaMelo, they win this game last night, and they're probably the 4 or 5 seed. So, front office has been making mistakes. With James Wiseman, he's going to be a great player in 2026. I don't know how he helps you now. I mean, you watch him. He's so far away. He is going to be good. He's going to be good, but he's going to take forever to develop, like Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine's finally a star in his 7th season. Well, he's only 25. He came out as 18. Like what are we expecting here? So, sorry, a little bit of a Warriors rant while I was attempting to break down the Jazz and the Grizzlies here. So obviously an important part of this game is going to be the status of Donovan Mitchell, upgraded to probable. If he's in there, you got to expect that he's going to be effective, and you got to expect that the Jazz could run away with this. Let's look at what Memphis struggles against. They struggle against bigger teams. Gobert is perfect foil for Valanciunas. I don't think he allows him to get completely loose on the offensive boards like other teams have. And then you just have the size to keep matching them. You got Favors. You got Royce O'Neal, right? Niang. You got a bunch of teams, even Bogdanovich and Ingles. Fairly big guys. And guess what? They can shoot here. Let's see if Memphis can get it done. I'll tell you what, even at 8.5, I like the Jazz here. Let's look at what Memphis had to do. On Wednesday night, they hosted the Spurs. Then they had to travel all the way out to San Francisco, play that game in the Chase Center Friday night. Now they got to go all the way back to Utah, play in elevation against a completely rested team. Now, let's be honest, got a chip on his shoulder, right? The two things you can say about the 1-2 seeds this year that is way different, they got something to prove. Nobody believes they're the top 2 teams in the West, myself included, right? Everyone still believes the top 2 teams in the West are in Los Angeles. I can't argue with that. But imagine if you're sitting there in Utah and you've had the best record in the league. You've been doing this all year. Might feel a little underappreciated. Same thing with these Phoenix Suns. While the Phoenix Suns get a chance to prove it right away, I think Utah's going to just make a statement here and just blow the Grizzlies out. I do like the Grizzlies to be competitive, and I think that this number, so let's assume that I'm right. Let's say Utah wins and covers this 8.5. Creeps up to 9, 10. Might be time to start targeting Memphis in game 2. After they've got a little bit of rest, they stay the same night in the same city for a couple nights in a row. Get some actual game film on their opponent on what exactly they're going to do. Find out the exact status of Mitchell and Conley here. And I think I'll like Memphis in game 2. But because of the travel, the fatigue, and the moment, I do like the Jazz to cover here in this game 1 at 8.5. And I don't actually, you know what? Some Memphis money might come in. This number will probably still be here tomorrow, so you'll have time to think about it. If I didn't sell you there, the total's 215.5. I actually think that's a good number. I would lean towards the under, but I have this number right around 217 here. 215 is pretty good. That's not an edge that I can bet. That's not an edge I can bet. Pretty good number here. Lean towards the under, even though the model tells me over. And the reason I lean towards the under is just watching these playoff games and knowing how they do slow last night. Gregory Russo talking about Val played an awful game last night, totally ineffective. Yeah, it was weird, right? When he fouled out, you would think that was advantage Warriors, but actually having Xavier Tillman out there proved to maybe be the difference in that game, right? Um, so obviously Valanciunas is hit or miss, and that should have been a matchup that he completely dominated here. And now he goes up against a much tougher matchup against Gobert. Might be a time to hit these Valanciunas unders, especially with how high that they've getting jacked up by hitting game after game after game in these good matchups that he's had. A Lower East Side roller is worried that Utah's a bit rusty. Yeah, rest versus rest, right? We're gonna have this debate every year. That could be an issue as well. But I'll tell you what, I'll take the potential rust over the known fatigue because the intensity of those games. I mean, that Spurs game tired him out because the Spurs made a push at the end. That was an intense overtime game last night. A lot of intensity here. This is a fatigue spot that you usually do not get in the playoffs, but we're getting it now. I'm gonna take advantage of it, and I'll lay it with Utah. Lean towards the under on the total. Not my favorite play. Let's go to Walla Walla's main event. The New York Knicks back in the playoffs for what, the first time in 9 years. What was it, 2012? The last time we've seen fans in Madison Square Garden for a playoff game. And guess what? There will be fans in Madison Square Garden. They are opening up. It's going to be 15K strong. Talk about a home court advantage. I can't imagine a more wild place to be on planet Earth on Sunday night at 4:30 p.m. Pacific, but it'll be 7:30 for you guys out in New York. The Madison Square Garden. That is going to be quite the atmosphere for the Hawks. I think this is a fantastic series to break down. Really, we had great conversation about this series. So, guys, if you got a chance, I would go back and watch yesterday's video, but I'll do a quick summation of what we talked about yesterday if you don't have time. Better offense in Atlanta, better defense in New York, right? More depth in Atlanta, more ability to score, but I trust the defense in New York more. So it really comes down to, and I think this is a fantastic conversation, even theoretically, for how we handicap the NBA moving forward. Defense wins championships has been a motto of my lifetime, right? It's getting less and less true, right? We're seeing in the NFL, right? NFL, they've skewed the rules towards the offense. That's fine. Fantasy DFS, right? I work for RunPure. We know how popular DFS and fantasy is, right? Nobody wants to watch 14-7, right? Same thing with the NBA. I loved 93-88 when I was a kid. It's not happening anymore, right? People want 126 to 120. That's what we're going to get. So the old adage that defense wins championships, you can't just say, oh, the Knicks have the better defense. That's my handicap. Yeah. I can use it as part of my handicap, but it's no longer just the be-all, end-all that it used to be. Now, let's talk about some issues here with the Atlanta side. Number one, will they be able to create against this better Knicks defense? I do trust Thibodeau to get the ball out of Trae Young's hands, force the supplemental, the role players, those guys to beat them, right? Is Gallinari going to hit those shots? He definitely could. I would even get the ball out of Bogdanovich's hands, right? I want Herter. I want DeAndre Hunter. I want Cam Reddish taking these shots, right? So let's see how much Thibodeau is actually able to scheme who gets the open looks. I trust Thibodeau to get it done there. On the other side, you have Nate McMillan, who's been a great regular season coach, been a boon to this Hawks team. But, hey, let's be honest. They did that nice little trick that GMs like to do. You replace the coach right as you're going to an easy stretch on the schedule. That's what they did. So now there's a whole new feeling around the team as they go on this winning streak. But you start to dissect the winning streak. They were beating Orlando. They're beating Cleveland, right? They're beating the Wizards when everybody was out, right? Wasn't as impressive when you go back and look as it seemed at the time. And it definitely boosted their statistics, their offensive rating. And if you're doing model-based handicapping, made the Hawks look a lot better. So, if Tibbs throws some things out there, do you trust Nate McMillan to make adjustments? I haven't seen it in the past. That's the reason he got fired in Indiana. Not losing all those first-round series, but losing them 4-0 and the idea that, hey, we lost the first two games, but hey, all we need to do is go home and execute. They're not actually making specific technical strategic adjustments. Now, obviously, everybody can get better. I'm a way better handicapper than I was 2 years ago, way better than I was 4 years ago, right? And I just keep getting better, and I hope I get better until I leave this, right? So to just automatically assume that Nate McMillan hasn't learned from his mistakes, I think would be a mistake. But at the same time, to assume that even if he does make adjustments, they will be the proper adjustments. We haven't seen him before. I think that's a pretty big leap of faith. I would rather assume that we're going to get the same guy and take the mea culpa, take the L if it ends up being that way. But I trust Thibodeau more. I do know that I'm going to get defensive intensity from this team. You know, you got to check five guys, only you need one to score, right? So if Randall can get it done, and these are great matchups, he has torched John Collins this year, right? Knicks are 3-0 against the Hawks this year. Obviously, the Hawks did have some issues in those games. I don't think you can take them as gospel, but go and look at Randall's numbers in those, right? You played his PRA in each one of those games, you hit. You rostered Randall and DFS in any of those three games against the Hawks, probably cashed, right? Unless the rest of your lineup was terrible, because he absolutely crushed John Collins this year. And if they move Capella to him, you don't think Randall's good enough passer to find Noel down low or whoever they end up running at center? Even give me some Taj Gibson cuts to the rim. So I really like the way this thing matches up for it. And I think this is another series, the return of home court advantage. The return of home court advantage. We will see it. Do you think, if this goes 7, do you trust Atlanta to get it done in that rocking and rolling Madison Square Garden? All the calls are going to go against them. All the calls will go against them if it goes to a game 7 with how loud that place is. I mean, we've seen this before. A lot of home court advantage is that the Reds subconsciously, I'm not even saying they even intentionally do it, they subconsciously call things for the home team. You got 16,000 people screaming at you, right? It seeps in. It seeps in here. I think the Knicks get a big home court advantage. If the Hawks want to win this series, I think they need to get it done in 6. So this is a big game for the Hawks. Well, they really only need to steal one. I don't think it's like Milwaukee, Miami, where it's a must-win for either team. Because if I'm Atlanta, I can lose this game 1, win game 2, head back home, feeling pretty good about the series. Definitely not a must-win like that in Milwaukee, where I feel that if Milwaukee loses, they are going to be mentally crushed. It's going to be hard for them to come. Walla Walla says, I agree on game 7. He said Knicks need game 1. Yeah, yeah. Again, it's not that necessarily a must win. They lose game 1, but they win game 3. I think they're fine. And the idea of them winning a game 3 in Atlanta is not that crazy to me. Walla Walla is also talking about Tibbs' minutes distribution closely for the rest of the series. And if you want to know how New York feels, Empire State Building is going blue and orange tonight. I mean, right? This is a team that is so excited about finally returning to the playoffs. And speaking of the returning to the playoff, we got Joey Work. I know that he is so excited for this game tomorrow night. Joey, I'm with you. I took the Knicks to win the series here. I just trust the defense more. I think that they are going to get the stops, and I think that Rose, Randall, even Alec Burks is going to be able to create enough on the offensive end. And when it comes down to it, I can't see the Hawks getting stops with this defense. I love Capella. You can shoot outside. You can get away from him here, right? John Collins, easy to exploit. Gallinari, don't even get me started. Trae Young, maybe arguably the worst defender in the league. Definitely the worst defender of the top 50 players in the league, right? Herter has got better. But it's still, I mean, there's just so many actionable matchups for the Knicks to exploit here. So I like the Knicks to win the series. As far as this game 1, the line is -1.5. Give me the New York Knicks as well. I'm going to ride with them. I think the Knicks get it done at home in front of a raucous, crazy, wild Madison Square Garden. Let's get this party popping in New York. I'll expect that you New York guys report back to me on how much fun that you guys have on Sunday night after the Knicks get game 1. So let's go ahead. I will go over all my picks and leans. I like Milwaukee -5 in this game. In the Clippers game, I liked laying the 5.5, but I don't love it here. I like the under more, but you're too late for the number there. In the Boston game, I lean towards taking the Celtics here at +8. I did not bet it though, but I think if I did get involved, I'll take the points. Then again, Brooklyn's blowout potential is so high, which is what kept me away from it. Also like the over in that game. I think that both teams score. In the Portland-Denver series, this is a tough one. I did bet though. I did take Denver. I do like Denver here against the Portland Trailblazers. I just think that, and once again, we're going to see the return of home court. I do like Jokic and his ability to score in the half court towards the end of the game. I think Philadelphia blows out Washington. I'll lay the 7.5 there. I like the under in the Lakers Phoenix game. Lean towards the Lakers, but I don't want to bet it because I want to just have fun and root for Phoenix. I'll take the under in that game. In the Memphis Utah game, I like Utah to blow them out. But if you don't get a chance to watch, we're going to come back on Memphis on game 2, most likely barring any injury. And I like the New York Knicks to get it done at -1.5. Give me their defense over Atlanta's offense. Give me the ability of Tom Thibodeau to out-scheme Nate McMillan, and give me the New York Knicks to advance. So, guys, everybody, thank you for hanging out. Remember, this show is brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets. So if you're already not a member of the team, head on over to runpurebets.com. Use the promo code BETS25 off to get access to my picks, my plays, and the plays of the rest of the team. Not only that, you will get access to the Sports Kegs live show, which, assuming we don't have any technical difficulties, I will be on later today talking about the NBA, and we'll be analyzing these games in-game. Maybe get some live games, because the game I'm planning to be on for is the Dallas Clippers game, and I don't have any pregame plays on that, so I will be wide open going to that game. We're going to find some live spots to bet it, and of course you can have access to that show and those plays by becoming a member of runpurebets.com. Promo code BETS25 off. While we're taking care of all this, please guys, give me the like. Subscribe to the channel so I can keep bringing you this. Tomorrow I will be off, but we will be back on Monday. I'll be back with Hoop, and we got 2 games that night. It'll be a quick, fun show. We'll also probably start recapping the games that we've seen before. We only have 2 games to break down. We can knock that out, do a recap, and still less than 40 minutes. Give you guys plenty of time to get the winners, get the winning picks, and still get on with your days. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. I will be back Monday morning. We got so much content for you, though, so head on over to the Run Pure Bets website and keep tuned to the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel, where we continue. Joey's bringing the winners. JJ's bringing the winners. Tyler, HTP, Score with D, and of course, you got the Sports Keg Live all weekend. Thank you for hanging out, guys.